Hey everyone, welcome to the results video of multiplayer round 42. In this round everybody had to make something in a swamp theme. Now, there were 14 finished entries. Sadly this one was not finished, this one was from Nin. And I didn't count this as a finished entry either. Please people, just join if you think you can actually finish the round, because this is kind of an eyesore. Let me quickly just make it green so it sticks out less. Alright, like I said, there were 14 finished entries. Everybody had to make something in a swamp theme. I will start with the one that got last place, and I'll finish with the winner of the round. So, in last place we have this entry from JDRiot. Now, I will quickly use the cutaway view here. So I believe we select it here and then let's take it here. There we go. So here you can see the entry from JDRiot. He's a newcomer on my server, but yeah, in the end I opened up the round for newcomers as well, and he actually made this entry in less than a day. So I think that's really impressive. So he recreated a map from Call of Duty. I believe it's one of those zombies maps. Now, personally, I never really played zombies, so I cannot really tell if it really looks like the original. But I did look up some pictures, and I think it captures the feel of it quite well. The coaster, I think it could have been a little bit more impressive, maybe with a different track type or something, yeah, to make it stand out more. It looks a little bit flimsy like this. But yeah, other than the coaster, honestly, there's not really too much interesting to look at. There are some entertainers walking around here. This one, Nicole Dempsey. I'm not really familiar with any of those names. Maybe they're characters from Call of Duty. I'm not really sure. But still, I think what something he did really well is the foliage in this plot. I think it looks really nice and swampy. These trees here together, they look really good, and so do all these bushes here. Okay, then we get the entry right next to it. This one's from Realsteel. He made I believe it's a multi-dimension roller coaster. Not sure if it's supposed to be a wing coaster. It's called the Swarm. So I believe there's a ride called the Swarm in Thorpe Park, if I'm not mistaken. Which I believe it's a wing coaster. Again, I'm not sure, but yeah, Realsteel likes to make recreations of rides, so that would make sense. So the ride itself, I think it looks pretty good here. I love how it starts off here, just like a typical wing coaster does, with a slow roll into a half loop, and then carrying on here. Now, I typically avoid using these photo sections. I think it would have been nice maybe with some wood under it, or just to make it look, or to make it blend in a little bit more. I think the station here looks nice, and I love this cutout here, which the coaster passes through. Yeah, I think it could have used the swamp theme a little bit better. It doesn't really scream swamp, well, except for this area here, which is quite nice. Not really sure what this is. Because he didn't name his track texture, so it just says Wooden Roller Coaster 1. I also saw the track disappear a few times. That's probably because he put the track under surface here while it's above water. It's really a rookie mistake. You really shouldn't do that, because it looks really glitchy. But yeah, overall I do like the coaster layout. It's pretty impressive to fit such a layout in such a small plot. Alright, then we get the entry of Samurai Sam. Now, I really like this entry. So here we see a nice go-kart track, and I think this fits the theme really well. yeah, here you can see the station of the ride. It's quite simple, but it looks really good. Some simple layering, but it's done really well. Yeah, I love the go-kart layout. It's not too realistic. Of course, you can see the go-kart jumping over the water here. There's an alligator swimming here in the water. That's pretty cool. The layout of the go-kart track, it's pretty nice, and it's decorated really well. So yeah, I think the reason this scored a bit on the lower end is probably because the go-kart is the only thing that's here. Maybe an extra ride would have been nice. Maybe a nice shoestrung ride here, or launched freefall, something like that. Just to have something more interesting on the plot. But still, this I think it does look really nice in the swamp theme. And if all the other entries weren't so amazing, I'm sure this would have ranked in the top half of the entries. But still, really nice work, and this is one really nice go-kart track. Alright, then here we get the entry from Mekkit Score 007. Now, for the people who like Star Wars, they probably recognize this scene. This is an X-Wing that's crashed or parked here in the swamp. You can also see a speeder going around here. He actually used a steeplechase car for that, I believe. Oh, it's actually a motorbike car. But yeah, it's really nice. I think he did a really nice job on this swamp as well. He also used the mini golf trick to make these flies. So it's called Robbie Hood's bugs. So yeah, Robbie Hood used that trick once in one of his rounds. So basically he turned a mini golf into an invisible ride with invisible cars, and then you can only see these balls going around. And these balls, they look like bugs or like pixels going around here. I think that's a really neat trick. It's subtle, I'm not even sure if you can see it in the video, but it is a really nice effect. Well, other than that, you can see some. You can see I think it's a lightsaber duel. You can also see some guests here. I'm not sure what this actually is. Graveyard monument. Oh, that's a really clever trick. So on top of the graveyard monument, there's a little guy, and apparently if you bury it underground, only the little guy is exposed. I've never seen someone use a graveyard monument like that. That's a really neat trick. I should remember this one. Well, for the rest, all these trees, I think they're done really well here. So yeah, it's a nice job, and of course, since there's only one ride here, and this is all there is, that's probably why it scored on the lower end compared to the other entries. But still, this X-Wing is really well done. There's many different track types used here, and even some vehicles, and that looks amazing. Alright, Mekkit Score actually tied with this entry. This one's from Jaron. So Jaron also made an entry for this contest. He made this nice little coaster here. So it's a launched Giga coaster. So here it gets launched into this spiral, and then it goes over the hill here. There's another helix here before it returns back to the station. And there's also this mini suspended coaster here going over the swamp. These plants and trees, I think they're done pretty nicely. And there's also a swamp monster here. No, not really sure about its face, but it is a nice attempt at making a monster. Some other nice structures here as well. I also kind of like the buildings. They're done in a nice way in the station here as well. So yeah, just nice little stuff throughout the entry. Also a nice little building here. Not sure if the brick is also a good idea for a swamp, but still, it's a nice entry, and yeah, I think it just looks pretty good. Alright, here's the entry from Emiel. So he created this little coaster here that's intertwined with this splash boat ride. Now this wooden coaster here, I think it's a switchback coaster. There's these tiny trains. Well, I usually prefer my coaster to have a bit longer trains than this, because I think this looks quite silly. But it's nice to see a switchback in this contest. So it's quite a simple layout. So there's just a few turns here. Then here's the backward section, and here there's another turnaround before it returns back to the station. For the splash boat ride, it actually has a curved lift hill. Not something you see often on these rides. And then here there's the drop, and then he used some S-bands here to make it look like the track goes sort of diagonal here. All these trees and stuff around it sort of hide the meandering of the track, so it more looks like a straight track. Now here's also a simple building, and also lots of trees and plants around it. I really like how he did all the plants around it. It really looks like a swamp, also with lots of plants growing over the water here. But yeah, still it looks like he sort of rushed it in the end, or because there's quite a few areas where there's not really much interesting to look at. Maybe it's also caused by the open patches of grass. I'm not really sure. But still, the stuff that is there is really nice. And I think he made great use of the palette by also putting these diagonal steel pieces. Okay, here we have the entry from Shen Kitchen. So Shen Kitchen made this entry here with this stuff in the sky. Now, I really didn't know what this was, but apparently it's something from the series Stranger Things. It's called the Mind Fryer. Someone told me that this was from Stranger Things. I'm not familiar with the series myself, but apparently I heard it was done in a nice way. And here there's a coaster on the floor. So it's a corkscrew coaster with quite a simple layout. So just a drop, a loop, turn around into two corkscrews, and here it travels through this little building, and here it returns back to the station, which is also done in a really nice way. Looks like an old building, which is a little bit overgrown. You can see some grass peeking out from between the tiles here. It's a nice mixture of building materials here. Lots of different layers. I think the colors together also work really well. Kind of looks like a rusty metal. I also see a Mr. Bones peeking out here. So yeah, lots of stuff here. You can also see a bridge that looks a little bit broken. And there's also lots of mechanics swarming around here. I don't think it was intentional that these mechanics would all be running around here. But I do think it makes sense for mechanics to be near a place which has a broken bridge. These supports, I think they're also done in a nice way. And they also have really nice colors. So I think this is a good entry, and I think it works well with this swampy palette. Okay, here we have the entry from DededeRobbie. He recreated a ship called Netches. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And he used these Ferris wheels here at the back to act as the wheels that propel the ship forward. I think that's done pretty well. I looked up some pictures of a ship called Netches, and yeah, I think he did quite a good job at recreating it. I also like these patriotic awnings that he made. Kind of looks like there's just these banners hanging here. Also, swamp around the ship. You can see some alligators swimming around. But for some reason all these alligators are following each other closely. Would have probably been nicer to have some more space between them. So yeah, there's a few alligators swimming, and then there's a big gap. And then, yeah, here's the front of the alligator train again. Sorry, that's kind of strange. So some boats going around, some other rides next to it. Yeah, one thing that I think could have been done a little bit nicer is that these plants here in the water all seem spaced out evenly. It's usually nicer to place some clumps of plants. Just have a few clumps of plants together. I think it's nicer than how it's done now. Like I said, now it just looks spaced out evenly, and that's probably something you'll want to avoid. But still, I think this is a really nice boat. Okay, here we have AJ's entry. Let me quickly turn on the cutaway view again. Here we go. So yeah, AJ made this multi-dimension roller coaster. I think he did a really nice job here on the supports. I think they look great. It's a nice mixture of these poles and wooden post fences, and also some of the Six Flags scenery. Yeah, these poles, I think they look really nice. This is done in a really nice way, and also around this inversion here. So the first part of the layout kind of reminds me of X. It's probably the most well-known multi-dimension roller coaster in existence. But yeah, really nice supports also for the rest of the entry. There's a log flume going around here. Kind of like how it goes around the plot and travels over the top of these buildings. These nice looking supports everywhere. Also the foliage here, I think it's done really well. Again with these flowers that are put over the water here. This building here, I think it fits great in a swamp style. Just for these buildings over here. I think this arch object is a bit overused. And maybe these colors are a bit too bright for my taste. Probably some tints of green would have helped, or maybe some different kinds of walls. But still, this is a nice entry, and especially this coaster. I think it looks nice. You don't often see people make a true multi-dimension coaster. So yeah, it's always impressive to see someone pull this off in a nice way. Okay, here's the entry from Ulvenwood. So he made this like this carnival here in the middle of the swamp. So here's the entrance to it. So guests enter the carnival from this pier over here, from this bridge, and then there's all these different rides here. So here's the ride Looping Star. So here's the first, it's the chain lift, then it goes down into this loop. I really like how we colored this loop in a different color than the rest of the track. And the layout itself is also really nice and compact. This is done really nicely, also decorated nicely. You can also see some other tracks here in the middle, some decoration, little tree. Now, other than that, also all these different rides here. Here's a little twist. There's also a disco ride called Octopussy. There's a little shoestring ride, Swamp Mouse. Here's also some arcade games. You can see Rob's Range, Hippo, Squirt, and this one's called Virginia Real 2. It's probably a good idea to name your track texture rather than keeping it named Virginia Real 2. While here it is actually named. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind when you're creating stuff with track texture. Now, for this entry, I think I would have liked to see some more trees around it. Maybe just to highlight the swamp part of the round a little bit more. But still, I do really like this carnival that he made here. Nice job. Okay, here's the entry from Logan. Now, it's really nice to see players return after a long absence. I don't remember what was the last round that he joined. It was probably one of the snow and ice rounds. It was possibly even before our current Discord community existed. It was probably around when we were still on RCNF. So yeah, it's nice to see people return after such a long absence. Now, Logan always loved making big buildings, and yeah, that's something he kept doing. So there's this huge building here, some corporation, Sycophant Industries. Huge building and a helipad on top. Also a big coaster going around. It's kind of like a Eurofighter. Here there's a big vertical lift and then a beyond vertical drop. I really like how we did the beyond vertical drop with the multi-dimension coaster track. That way the track just stays in this direction and it doesn't flip backwards. So that looks pretty nice. Now you can also see the coaster travel through this building here with the sign affected premises. Also a crane here with one of these wrecking balls. That's done really nicely. Yeah. So yeah, you can see a bit of swamp here as well, and a bit of swamp here as well. So it would have been nice if it was actually more swamp themed, but still, it is. I think it is a really nice building, and it is really nice to see Logan back in action on my Discord. I think this is a great way to return. Nice job. Okay, there's just 3 plots remaining. I will first show all the 3 plots, and after that I will reveal how every one of them scored. So first off, I'm going to show this this entry. This one's from Jens J. So he actually joined on the last day, and he put this together in record time. And I'm really amazed by what he put together. This is such a nice mix of buildings and building materials. I think he did a really great job on this walkway right next to the water. It's a really nice mix of materials here, but it still does look like wood. These buildings here all a really nice mix of layers and decorations, different kinds of roofs. But it all still looks really nice and believable. Now also a boat ride going around here, Hawkeye raft. You can also see a little guide rail on the water. Now here's some more buildings. Also a launched freefall ride, which is destroyed. I really like how he used these pieces of track here to make it look like this tower has fallen over. That's really cool and really well done. Some really nice decorations here in the middle. It does for sure really look like a swamp. So yeah, I think this is a really impressive entry, especially when you know that it has been put together in a really short time, and it all works together really well. And yeah, it's just an amazing entry. So a great entry once again from Jens J. Okay, here's the entry from Hex. He also made one of these boats. Kind of looks like this one, but it's a different ship. This one's also based on a real existing ship, which also serves as a casino. You can also see the casino side signs here. I think I saw some pictures of this ship, and it actually looks quite a lot like the real thing. But yeah, what makes this entry stand out a lot more from the other entry with the ship is that this one also has a nice coaster on it. Now, this coaster really reminds me of Ghost Rider. Not sure if it was inspired by the real Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm, but for sure the layout is kind of the same. It's also in an L shape, and it doesn't have a lot of banking. And, yeah, the real ride also hammers you with lateral G's. So that's what made me think it's inspired by that ride. But still, this Woody, I think it looks really good here. Yeah, it just fits in this entry really well. Yeah, this entry is just filled really nicely with the boat here and the coaster around it. So there's a nice swampy landscape under it. He did a really nice job on these footers. which the coaster rests on top of. So yeah, this is just a great entry. I also love this little boat that he made here. So yeah, I think this is a lovely entry from Hex. Really nice job. Okay, and then here's the final entry that I want to show. Well, I'll use the cutaway view, because the stuff from Shen is blocking the view from one angle. So yeah, here you can see the entry from Mekkit. Mekkit made this little swamp town here. Now, one thing that I really like about this entry is how Mekkit did these windows on this building. And this is actually done using one of these pirate buildings that you don't often see being used. This building is actually quite useful, because you can just hide certain parts of it, or put, or maybe not hide them, but just put other stuff in front, and then yeah, you can use these double windows. And when you use them with different layers, I think you can make them look really nice. So it also works really well here, I think. Oops, I disabled the cutaway view. Here we are again. So yeah, just a really lovely swamp town. This foliage here is done in a really nice way. I really like these buildings, and you can also see all these green squares flying around. I believe they're supposed to be birds. If we pause the game, then we can click one. Yeah, they're called birds. So yeah, they're supposed to represent birds flying around. But yeah, I think this is a really nice piece of scenery. There's also some alligators swimming around. Also some boats with guests going around. The Gator Watch. Also some, I believe these are swarms of flies, skeeters. They're made with some crashed rides. It's actually smoke. But yeah, I think Mekkit did a really nice job on this entry. Although it is a little bit glitchy here, especially when guests are walking around through the little town. Okay, then now it's time to announce who is the winner of this round. The winner of multiplayer round 42 is... Jens J. So I think it's incredible what Jens put together in such a short time. Yeah, it's just incredibly nice swampy landscape. These buildings, they all look amazing, and yeah, it just has a nice amount of movement in the plot with these boats going around, the guests who can walk pretty much everywhere here. Yeah, like I said, it just looks amazing, and it's a really great creation from Jens. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching all these entries. A new round of multiplayer will start quite soon. Next round will be a little bit special, but all will be revealed quite soon. If you want to join one of these rounds, you should go on my Discord. Just be active in the chat, and you'll get the trusted member role soon enough, and then you can also join my server to play on it. So yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed watching all these entries, and I'll see you again in the next video. See you later.